Hello everyone, this is part 30 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Dojutsu, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto lazily did his work behind his desk while Shizune and Kurenai brought him the next pile. The blonde was rather busy today since he had lots of things that needed to be done. He would have left it to his clones, but the thought of not having anything to do was more than enough to cause the blonde to do his own work. You know, Naruto-kun, you could take a break, Kurenai said, and Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a small smile. He stood to his feet and managed to plant a K to Kurenai's cheek, making the Genjutsu mistress lightly blush from his action while Naruto pulled back. Yeah, I suppose. Ugh. What else do I have to do today? Naruto asked, and Kurenai held up a small pad. There is a council meeting later, and then after that you have to visit the Hyuga compound. To end, you will be talking with Mizukage-sama before she leaves, Kurenai responded, and Naruto nodded. He had his clones working on his new techniques, and Mei was busy teaching him how to do her Yoten style. He was rather happy that she wasn't mad at him for taking her bloodline, but more than that, she seemed rather happy about it. Naruto didn't know why, but seeing Mei smile brought a smile to his face also. She was a real enigma to the blonde, but he seemed to enjoy her presence. Man, that's a lot. Well, thank you, Kurenai-chan. It was great to have you read that to me, but now I have to make an important detail. Kurenai, please tell Shizune-chan to assemble all the Jonin and Chunin into the meeting room in 1 hour. It's something important that I must discuss with them, Naruto told her, and Kurenai wondered what was so serious, but she quickly left the room while Naruto looked out the window. I'd better tell people before something stupid happens. I wonder how Kiba and the others are doing, Naruto said to himself before he got up from his seat and put on his Hokage hat, which was still too big for his head. He chuckled despite himself and looked at a picture of Minato. The blonde smiled and sighed. C2-chan, I told you I'd be Hokage, but let's be honest. I couldn't have been here without Kyubi-chan. She really is my queen, well, after Sum-chan of course, Naruto said to the picture before he placed his cage robes on and left the room. Hospital room. Alright, Kiba-san. You, Haku-san, Tayuya-san and Kimimaro-san are allowed to leave, a nurse said, and Kiba sighed with a smile. He stretched himself and thanked the woman, as did Haku, Tayuya and Kimimaro. Man, finally glad to have that S out of the way, Tayuya said, and everyone else agreed before they saw Kakashi, Asuma and Anko walking towards the Hokage mansion. Kakashi seemed to be consoling Asuma, who was sighing. Mama Asuma, it's not like Kurenai-san didn't like you, Kakashi said to him, and the bearded Jonin simply nodded his head before he rubbed the back of his head. But Naruto, I know he's the Hokage, but what does he have that I don't? Asuma asked, and Anko snickered. He has Nai-chan and myself. I tell ya, Asuma, Naruto-kun really knows his stuff, Anko said, effectively making Asuma grow more and more depressed. I'm sure he does. Hell, Yugao even likes the guy and she doesn't like anyone, normally anyway, Asuma retorted, making Anko nod, and so did Kakashi before the three Jonin noticed Kiba and Haku. Yo Kiba, you were released from the hospital? Kakashi asked, and Kiba smirked as he held up a fist. Not enough to stop me, Kakashi-sensei. I'm just good like that, Kiba said while Haku sweet-dropped. Tayuya rolled her eyes and Kimimaro remained impassive. Akamaru barked in agreement with Kiba while Kakashi rubbed his head. Sure you are. Well, anyway, we all have to get going. Naruto has called all the Chunin and Jonin to a meeting, Kakashi said to them all, making everyone raise their eyebrows. What does the S want? Tayuya asked, and everyone shrugged their shoulders as they were in the dark just as much as her, if not more. Well, we won't get our answers in here, so let's hurry up and go. Hokage-sama has some real important duties to take care of, Kimimaro to the rest, and everyone else could agree with him. I wonder what Naruto wants. Well, let's get going, you guys, or we're not going to find out, Kiba said and dashed off while Haku rubbed the back of her head with a soft smile. You take off the leash and he goes running, she suddenly spoke while Tayuya nodded and gave an irritable sigh for a response as they others walked off. Cryptanalysis department. While everyone was going over some things that were of vital importance to their research, there came to be a knock on the door, making them all stop their work. Kyubi opened the door and Shizune came though. I'm sorry to interrupt anything, but Naruto-kun told me where you all were. Kushina-san, Shikaku-san, you are to meet with the other Jonin and Chunin in the Hokage meeting room for an announcement from Naruto-kun, Shizune said and quickly left while Shikaku and Kushina turned to each other. I wonder what Hokage-sama could want, Shikaku said, getting to his feet, and Kushina smiled as she casted a small glare. Jonin. I'm just a Jonin. Sochi-kun, I'm gonna show you how wrong you are about that rank, Kushina said, chuckling darkly while she and Shikaku left the room. Kyubi, Nanabe and Nibi watched them all leave easily and sighed before they got back to work with Shiho on the investigation. Hokage meeting room. Kiba opened the door and he saw the multiple Jonin and Chunin in the room. There were the gate guards Izumo and Kotetsu, the interrogator, Abiki Morino, and a lot more people. Every shinobi Jonin and Chunin rank from every department was there as they all waited. What do you think Hokage-sama wants with us? Someone asked to another, and the person shrugged his shoulders while the conversations came between everyone. Haku saw her teacher, Shizune, in the room also and walked forward. Shizune-sensei, do you know what's going on? Haku asked, and Shizune shook her head. It really baffled everyone that not even Kurenai and Shizune, Naruto's personal advisors and secretaries, didn't know what the blonde wanted to announce. Soon the doorknob twisted. People watched as the young Hokage came into the room and the blonde rubbed the back of his head at all of their questioning gazes. He spotted Tsume, Hana, Hiashi, Inoiki, Shikaku, Chusa, Shibi, Kushina and the others. The blonde managed a secret wave to Haku and Kiba, who waved back before the blonde sat in his chair, in the meeting room, and took a glance at everyone. He felt their stares to be inconceivable, but he tried his best to ignore it. Naruto even managed to see Sarutobi, who was supposed to be enjoying his retirement, but he was happy nonetheless. The room was quiet for a few seconds as Naruto contemplated his thoughts before he decided to speak. Alright, I thank you all for coming on such short notice, but I have some news. Don't worry, we're not in trouble, at least depending on how you take this, Naruto began, and everyone wondered what he was going to say. Kushina had concern on her face, but seeing Naruto's smile slightly calmed her down, even if she wanted to ask what was wrong with the blonde cage, but she would know soon enough. Hokage-sama, what's going on? Someone asked, and everyone tensed while Naruto closed his eyes. It seems we still have holes in our security system. Akatsuki managed to come into the village, Naruto said, causing murmurs to go through the group. Kiba and Haku tensed while Tayuya and Kimimaro narrowed their eyes. Tsume tried to remain impassive, but a small growl came out of her lips. Naruto sighed at all of their reactions, but held his hand up for people to be quiet. Don't worry. As you can see, I'm fine, but rather something interesting has happened and I've allowed Itachi back into the village, Naruto said, and if people were shocked then the looks on their faces screamed it all. Kakashi lowered his visible eye while people wondered what their Hokage was thinking by letting in the number 1K of the Uchiha clan. Naruto, he allowed Itachi inside. But why? Kiba wondered, but stayed silent. Not that I'm questioning your judgment, Naruto-sama, but do you think this is wise? Shibi asked, and Naruto intertwined his fingers together before giving a cheeky smile. I know you all must think that, but trust me on this. Having Itachi around will be more good than bad, I'm sure. Right now he should be at the compound training Sasuke. No one is to attack Itachi at all. I know you all want to, but don't. As your Hokage, I order it. Itachi is to be treated as a part of the village. Understood? Naruto asked, and a collective shout of the word, "Hi," from everyone was heard, and the blonde smiled. That being the case, I'm going to offer Itachi the position of Tokubutsu Jonin. He could be an Anbu, but I want him to be around the village before sending him off, Naruto said, and people could understand his thinking about that. Naruto-kun, not that I don't see this as a good idea, since Itachi was a prodigy just like Kakashi at a young age and he will provide Konoha with more military power, don't you think we should at least keep an eye on him for probation? Shizune asked, and Naruto placed a finger to his chin. He could definitely agree to that since he found that to be true. He might be reckless and tactless, but he wasn't stupid nor dumb. The blonde knew about baseless faith, but he'd rather not have Itachi be considered a prisoner, and he closed his eyes while his finger tapped the table. Well, it's all fine. I'll think about it later. Resume your duties, Naruto told them all, and everyone shunshined out of the room except for Kushina, Tsume, Hana, Shizune, Kurenai, Kiba, Haku, Tayuya and Kimimaro. Naruto, what are you thinking, man? Kiba asked as he had confusion written over his face. Haku wondered the same thing and Naruto smiled. Alright, I'll tell you then, Naruto said, and everyone listened to his words as Naruto explained his idea. Everyone took his words into account, and by the time the blonde was finished he waited to judge their reactions. You do know that the odds of that happening are low, right? Tayuya asked, but Naruto shrugged it off. Hey, just cause it's low that doesn't make it zero. Come on, we have a bit of time before my council meeting. Besides, today is moving day, Naruto said, making Tsume smile while Hana and Kiba did the same. Moving day? For who? Why? Haku asked, and Naruto smiled as he held up a doent. Haku looked it over along with Tayuya and Kimimaro. You're going to combine the Inuzuka clan and the Uzumaki Namikaze clan into one compound. Can that be done? Kimimaro asked, and Naruto nodded. Yeah, it took a bit of work doing the organization, but the Inuzuka clan members really liked the idea of being a part of this clan. They all agreed to it along with Tsume-chan. Granted, running that big of a compound is impossible because of my duties, so I made it that we'll have 2 clan heads, Naruto said, and Kushina raised an eyebrow. 2. If you're the first, then who's the second? She asked, although she had a real good idea of who the blonde had in mind. Why, Tsume-chan, of course. She's still as strong as ever, you know, Naruto said, and Tsume placed a hand on her hip before cackling with a light nod. Well, I'm glad that my mate has offered his praise of me. Well, then we'll be moving our compound. Should we take anything out? Tsume asked, and Naruto shook his head. No, it's fine. Just watch in a bit, Naruto said to her, and everyone did as they walked out of the room. With Itachi and Sasuke, the 2 Uchiha brothers were currently in a training field sitting across from each other. Sasuke looked at Itachi's thinking face and stayed silent. He didn't know how to describe this feeling. The feeling of having Itachi back in his life, but the young Uchiha could honestly say that he was rather happy in a sense. Itachi opened his eyes to see Sasuke staring at him intently and smiled as he got to his feet. Sasuke did the same, and Itachi turned around. Sasuke, what is the Sharingan? Itachi asked, and Sasuke raised an eyebrow. He wondered what this had to do with his training, but he answered anyway. It's a dojutsu of the Uchiha clan. The strength that helped us to found Konoha as a village, Sasuke replied, and Itachi frowned before he poked Sasuke in the head with his 2 fingers, like always, making the Uchiha scowl. Wrong, Sasuke, Itachi said, and turned around again. Sasuke stood to his feet and rubbed his head, and Itachi closed his eyes. He let the wind flow through his hair and smiled. The Sharingan, Sasuke, is a tool for the Uchiha clan. You're right, it is our dojutsu, but its power is meaningless without a wielder. A kunai will not injure someone if there isn't someone throwing it. Remember, Sasuke, the Sharingan will be your best tool, but you must train to use it to its limits or you will fall just like father did. Understood? Itachi asked, and Sasuke looked at the ground. He nodded fast, seeing the truth in Itachi's words. I understand, Sasuke said, and Itachi nodded. Good, now then, take your kunai and come fight me. We'll be correcting all of the things that you had to grow up learning. Know that I won't be holding back on you, Itachi told him, and Sasuke nodded. The Uchiha brothers spared throughout the training field for a little while. Itachi could see Sasuke's taijutsu, and while it was good, it wasn't great. He was using the family taijutsu for counters and strikes. He would have to correct a lot of things, and then there was the wasting moves of chakra that Sasuke would try to do to turn the tide of a battle. It wouldn't do that much good either. While the two fought, Itachi could feel the stare of a certain Jonin on them both and mentally sighed. It seems that Naruto has told of my presence. I should have expected as much, Itachi thought before he grabbed Sasuke's collar and threw the brunette into the air. Sasuke backflipped and landed on the ground as he growled before Itachi clapped. Alright, Sasuke, now we will work on your shuriken jutsu. Go back to the house and get your supplies, Itachi said, and Sasuke nodded as he shunshined out of sight, and Itachi turned his head while the person shunshined to the ground. Not going to attack me? Itachi asked suspiciously, and the figure smiled. Ma, Naruto made it an order not to, so I can't. He told us you would be training Sasuke. Now all the Chunin and Jonin know that you're back. It's not gonna be easy for you, he said, and Itachi closed his eyes. That doesn't matter to me. I just don't know how long it will be until Akatsuki learns of this. I know some people won't be pleased, Itachi said, and Kakashi agreed before they both saw Sasuke running towards them. Despite the situation, Itachi gave a small smile and Kakashi glared. I hope you won't do anything stupid this time, Kakashi said, and Itachi closed his eyes. Depends on what you mean by stupid, he said, making Kakashi glare at him slightly. Itachi could feel his gaze and really wondered if Kakashi would try something before the Jonin gave an eye smile. Ma, at least you understand. I'll be going, Kakashi said before disappearing in a puff of smoke while Sasuke came up to Itachi. Wasn't that Kakashi-sensei? Sasuke asked, and Itachi nodded while he brushed a hand through his hair. Akatsuki base. The members of Akatsuki gathered around and the 10 hands as usual, and before long Kisame came up, but everyone looked at the fact that he was short one person. Where is Itachi? Pain asked, and Kisame balled his fists. He seethed at the thought. He didn't see Itachi's death, but he knew. He just somehow knew that his partner was gone. Forever. Pain-sama, Itachi is gone, Kisame said, and the few murmurs came from the entire group. What? I was supposed to be the one who his him. Who him? I want to make sure to show them how powerful my art is, Deodara said, and Kisame stayed silent. Everyone waited for him to speak before a female voice came. Is there anyone out there that can beat him? She asked, and everyone discussed it amongst themselves. Orochimaru, you were the most interested in Itachi's abilities. What do you think? Kakazu asked, and the snake Sannin snickered as he brushed his hair. I know Itachi and he doesn't go down easily. He's more resilient than me. Tell me, Kisame, who is it that Itachi? Orochimaru asked, and Kisame growled. The Yonbi Jinchuriki, he said effortlessly, and everyone murmured again through the small base, and Sasori narrowed his eyes. Well, what do we do? It's obvious that the Beiyu are a lot more capable than we thought. The Kyubi Jinchuriki is the Hokage, so he's, probably, the most powerful person in the village. He's currently protecting the Nibi Jinchuriki and the Nanabi Jinchuriki. The Rokubi Jinchuriki is nowhere to be found. Sanbi hasn't been seen and the Ichibi is under watch. Pain-sama, are you sure we can only continue to observe? Sasori asked in a gruff voice, and Konan spoke. For now we follow the plan. In 2 years we act. For now we observe, she said while Hiden grinned. Besides that, none of them can beat me or Jashin-sama. I'll crave all of the names into the bee of my scythe, Hiden said to everyone while he grinned like mad as usual. Zetsu, how strong is Konoha at an estimate? Orochimaru asked, and Zetsu scoffed. Are you kidding? With the Godime Hokage gone, I think the Kyubi Jinchuriki's influence is rather large. People were skeptical of him for a bit, but it wasn't long and he fills the role well. Konoha has a treaty with Suna and Kumo. Kiri's Mizukage even went to Konoha herself. If this keeps up, then Konoha is going to be more trouble than we thought possible. Leader-sama, I think we should begin now, Zetsu said, but Pain casted a glare on him. He is a human. He cannot defeat a god. It's as simple as that. Keep observing. We will move when I see fit. Dismissed, he said, and everyone left the place before a small time warp and a Toby came into view. It seems that things are getting interesting. Maybe I should start my own plans, but first I'll have to stop a certain someone from going to Omegakure. His presence is not to disturb my plan, Toby said to himself before he vanished away. With Sato Saranzo, the man was up in a treetop as he looked at his followers, sleeping on the ground next to a fire. He had no idea where he was going, but he just knew that he would have to get to Omegakure. The place that blasphemes a god should not go unpunished, plus it might be there where he can take his swords. His swords that were denied him by his mother, by Kami. Sato had always been the strongest of his 5 brothers. They each had their own swords to hone and to train with, but they all got into a stupid fight over having the other swords, and then their mother punished them all. Well, Sato couldn't think that much. My sword of fire. I was the strongest, and to be denied what is rightfully mine is not going to be that way. Ka-chan, when I take my swords, I'm going to go back and show you just who you messed with. To those mortals who have my swords, then that's fine, but they will not know the power without the light. That white light that Ka-chan bestows upon one individual. Who knows who has it? Sato said, and before long he heard a ruffle of the leaves. He tensed and got to his feet as he drew his sword. He quickly turned his arm and S behind him only to narrow his eyes as he watched his entire arm and sword go through another person's body without harm. He watched himself phase through his body until the man grabbed him and smirked. Nice welcome. You're coming with me, the man said, and Sato narrowed his eyes. Get your hands off me, mortal, he said before he felt himself get sucked into a wormhole. He gasped out while Toby sucked him away. He looked at the group of sleeping bandits around the fire and grinned. Time to see just how this fool does. I'll see if I have an ally or just another idiot with a god complex, Toby said before he did a single hand sign. Sato fell to the ground quite a ways away from his group of followers and cursed. What the hell was that? He wondered before he saw Toby come in front of him. Are you scared? Toby asked, and Sato merely glared at him like he was nothing more than an insect ready to be squashed. Like you mortals could scare me. Get out of my sight immediately, he said, only to look up and see Toby was gone and appeared behind him. You shouldn't talk like that when I can jay you, Toby said with a kunai, only to be met with a chuckle. I had heard that humans were the smartest beings on the planet, but you seem to send that notion down the drain. Very well, I'll let you show me how useless you are, Sato said, and Toby appeared apart from him again. He jumped back to a tree and closed his eyes. Then let's go, Toby said and charged at Sato. The son of Kami did the same and charged at Toby. The two collided with each other in a full fight, and since his thoughts were disturbed earlier, then Sato was really irritable at the moment. He threw his sword forward to impale Toby, but he was only surprised when his blade phased through his body, and so did he in turn. The two passed through each other and Toby smiled before he sent a kick to Sato, but the man saw it coming and jumped in the air. He faced Toby, who was looking at him like he wasn't expecting much. Can't beat what you can't hit, right? He asked, and Sato glared hard at Toby before his sword was outlined in a dark aura. He growled hard at his opponent before he vanished in a blur of speed. Toby didn't immediately react, but when he saw Sato behind him, he noticed that Sato s-ed him. His sword passed through Toby again, and Sato was met with a punch to the face that sent him flying into a tree. He cursed and brushed his lips slightly. You just signed your death wish, Sato said, getting to his feet, and Toby closed his eye. Not enough to scare me, he said before Sato smirked. That fool, he thinks he can't get hit. Don't underestimate those better than you, mortal, Sato said in his thoughts before he closed his eyes. He smiled at the thought of time-space ninjutsu. That's right, he knew about that type of ninjutsu, and he already for the best weak point to this guy. Alright, let's move, Sato said and charged at Toby again. Toby did the same charge also, and before long Sato threw his sword at Toby, and just as he thought, it passed through the man's body. Time slowed for them both as Sato smiled. You can't phase and attack at the same time. That's when I'll see you down. It's down to only my speed. 1 second of difference, he said in his thoughts as he thought back to the only man who ever could do something like this. Sato watched his sword go through Toby's body, and the son of Kami's right hand quickly flared in a dark aura. His sword flashed from the dark aura also, and Toby reached out to grab Sato. They both neared each other as Toby's arm got closer and closer to Sato's body. Sato growled and quickly connected his chakra to his sword. They were both so close, and Toby smiled. I'm not that stupid, he said, and passed through Sato's body, making the man gasp before he quickly rebounded and grabbed his sword. He threw it at Toby and smirked as Toby decided to turn around and only met Sato's sword as it embedded itself in his stomach. Toby winced behind his mask and cursed. He wait for me to turn around. Toby wondered, and Sato smiled as he held up his right hand. You aren't learning anything new. Here, let me show you, Sato said, and his right hand glowed more in the dark aura. Toby watched as the sword humming, and he felt a burning sensation on his body. Once my sword hits you, then you are engulfed in its power. You will decay, and then you will be nothing before me, Sato said, and Toby glared at him before he closed his eyes. Is it that easy? He asked and looked. Soon he began to get enveloped in the same wormhole as before. Sato's sword dropped to the ground and stopped its power influence while he glared. He turned to see Toby in a tree, and the man smiled. Not bad. You're talented, but far from a god like you proclaim to be. All you have is that sword, Toby said, and Sato glared at him. He was about to say something before Toby nursed his wound and sat down on the tree branch. You team up with me, Toby said, and Sato closed his eyes. I have no need of someone like you. I could still K you, but I'd rather not, Sato answered, and Toby grinned as he placed a hand on his head. Are you all talk and no action? Toby doesn't like you, he said, and Sato wondered where that change in personality came from. What the hell is wrong with you? Are you sick in the head? Sato asked, taking his sword off the ground, and Toby laughed at him before he calmed down and got serious again. Tell me, what is it that you are looking for? Toby asked, and Sato raised an eyebrow. What should it matter to you? Don't get in my way, Sato said, and Toby smiled as he got to his feet. What is I told you that I know who has your swords and where you can find the light? Toby asked, and immediately he was pinned to a tree only because he allowed Sato to touch him that time. Where is it? Tell me right now, Sato demanded, but then he gasped when Toby's Sharingan began to spin. His eyes lost their color and became blank. Sato dropped his arm and Toby smiled. We're just going to keep you in reserve for now, Toby said, and Sato merely nodded absently before he was sucked into the alternate dimension that Toby placed him in. Now then, time to go and set some things in motion. Especially with Taki, Madara said, and vanished out of sight. He didn't have any use for Sato's little henchmen, but he could ignore them and no one was none the wiser about what had happened. Back with Naruto. The blonde stood in front of the Inuzuka compound and all of the Inuzuka members were watching the blonde as he closed his eyes. He turned around to them all while his friends and family decided to watch. Everyone, thank you, I know we'll be a great clan. The Uzumaki Namika's Inuzuka clan. It really is one hell of a name, isn't it? Naruto asked them, and some people chuckled as they nodded and the dogs barked, answering Naruto's question, but the blonde went on. I promise that me and Sum-chan will be the best clan heads that we can. I won't let you down, Naruto said, and Sum smiled as she patted Kiba's head. You know, chancer that you and him are going to be clan heads together one day, Sum stated, and Kiba sighed as he rubbed the back of his head. That's right, Ka-san. I'm gonna get wicked strong with Naruto and you watch when we're the best out of the whole village, Kiba said, and Sum smiled with a nod as Naruto placed his hands on the compound before closing his eyes and touching the mic on his N. Fu-chan, are you ready? Naruto asked, and far off to the Uzumaki Namika's compound, Fu and Yugito were drawing seals around an open space near the compound. Ready when you are, Naruto-kun, Fu said, and Yugito nodded in agreement. Naruto smirked over the mic and nodded. Good. According to Tu-chan, he could not only move himself and people, but he could move object with the Hiraishin. Let's test it out, Naruto said as he touched the compound. Soon the entire formula for the Hiraishin appeared in the air above the compound, and Naruto smiled as the compound started to get drawn into the seals. Everyone was amazed at their compound leaving their view, and it was completely gone while Naruto took out of his three-pronged kunai and did a hand sign. With Fu and Yugito, the two gasped and backed away as the entire Inuzuka compound appeared in front of them, nearly crushing them underneath its weight. Yugito sighed and Fu smiled. Well, that's that, Fu said, and Yugito nodded. She had to admit that the Inuzuka compound seemed to really complete the Uzumaki Namika's house. It was like one big building in combination with another one. There was so much more space than usual than they knew what to do with, and this just solved lots of things. No kidding. Although the thought if living with dogs all my life is less than pleasing, Yugito said, and Fu turned around. We live with Kasumi, don't we? She asked, and Yugito snickered before they felt an immense key behind them. They turned to see Kasumi with a tick mark on her head. Oh, so it's like that, is it? She asked, and she proceeded to stretch her legs while Yugito gulped. Oh, look at the time, Yugito said, and blazed by Kasumi leaving the dog girl to deal with Fu, who trembled. I can explain, Fu said, but she knew her fate as Kasumi tapped our foot on the floor. Oh, I don't need one, she said, and dashed forward. The last thing Fu remembered was the heavy drop kick that landed on her head, knocking her out cold. Back with Naruto and the others. Naruto stopped in the middle of the street with the other Inuzuka clan members and sighed. He turned around and gave them all an apologetic look. Sorry guys, but I have a meeting to get to. Get yourselves settled in at the compound, which shouldn't be hard. Sum, Hana and Kiba have been there before, Naruto said before he, Kurenai and Shizune walked off. Kushina and Shikaku had already gone back to the cryptanalysis department. Understood, Naruto-sama, they all said collectively, and Haku smiled as she headed for the hospital. She would need to get some medical jutsu training in while she could. Well, Akamaru and I are going to train also. We'll be back in time for dinner, Car-san, Kiba said as he hopped to the rooftops with Hana following him along with the Heimaru brothers. Those two, what am I going to do? Well, whatever. I guess tonight I'll make something special since this is a good occasion, Sume said, and her fellow clan members followed her towards their new location, though Sume knew she had to hurry since the meeting meant her presence also. Kushina had made a clone to go to the meeting for herself so she could get back to her task, but Sume figured that she was lucky. The Inuzuka were like a second family for Naruto, in every sense of the word. They loved his presence when he was younger. He had been a really great influence on their clan. The dogs loved him and he could always make people happy. Some were jealous that he had Sume since they wanted her, but everyone could see why. Who else, but the strongest female in the Inuzuka for the Hokage of Konoha. Back with Naruto, council room. The blonde sighed as he wanted to personally greet the Inuzuka to the new compound, but sadly that wasn't the case as the young blonde entered the room. He saw Hiyashi, Shikaku, Inoiki and all the other clan heads except for Sume and his mother. He, of course, knew about the clone, but it wasn't the same though he could ignore it. He saw the civilian council looking at him with their steely eyes and sighed. Some things never change, but that was about to stop. Naruto came up to his seat on the council and waited for Sume to arrive. He took a glance at the civilian council who seemed to be waiting for something to happen. Kurenai and Shizune stood behind Naruto as they felt the mood in the air. It was really suffocating as they wondered how Naruto could deal with it, but they placed it aside for the moment while everyone waited for Sume to arrive. About 20 minutes later, Sume came through the door and gave everyone an apology for her being late, to which Naruto wrote off since she must have finished settling into the compound with her family and their canine companions. Naruto chuckled at her sheepishness, but left it alone for the time being while Sume got seated. Alright then, what's this meeting about? Naruto asked and everyone tensed. Sume looked across the room and Shizune stepped forward. Actually Naruto-kun, this letter came from Taki 1 day ago. It's addressed to you and no one else. Please open it and read it, Shizune said, and Naruto took the letter. He had heard about Taki on multiple occasions. For one, they were Fu's home village and the reason she left. Two, they were, supposed, allies of Konoha. The blonde took the note and looked at it. He sighed and read down, announcing everything to everyone in the room. To Konoha's Hokage. Greetings Hokage Dono, I am the leader of Taki and I would like to appreciate your time for reading this letter. Young Hokage, it has been my understanding that one of our shinobi has taken up residence in your village. We're sure that you are familiar with the girl named Fu. You can surely understand why Taki would want her back. Please consider the trade of Fu, our Jinchuriki, for a large sum of money that we will be more than willing to give you. You know how hard it is to keep some shinobi on a leash. I would like to meet with you in 3 days to discuss your terms of agreement. I hope we can reach a great conclusion that will not force us into war over something as trivial as who Fu belongs to. Don't fight us Hokage Dono, as we won't be responsible for the consequences for your actions. Please don't let your emotions cloud your judgment, as we as a village have many allies. Ones that you don't know about. Do well to come to a good decision. I'll be coming in 2 to 4 days to discuss things with you. Your ally, Takagakure. Naruto growled lowly enough for everyone to hear him. His teeth clenched and his nails dug into the paper of the letter. The blonde felt like he wanted to ell someone's eyes out. They were going to threaten him. No way in hell. The council was silent while Naruto calmed down. He closed his eyes and calmly breathed before the paper in two. Everyone gasped at the action since they did hear Naruto talking about the letter, and the blonde tore it up more and more before it was nothing but sprinkles and he dropped it on his table. He jumped to his feet and the table. Hokage-sama, calm down, Shibi said, and Naruto nails clawed at the table, but he did so. They think they can threaten me. No way am I handing Fu over to those Naruto shouted, and everyone agreed. But their confidence is high. They sound like they're willing to go to war with Konoha over this, Shikaku said, and everyone could agree. Naruto laid back into his chair and cursed. Kuso, who the hell does this? How can they fight with one of the 5 great nations? Naruto asked, and Shibi sighed. Don't forget Naruto-san that Kiri fell to the current Mizukage and her allies while they weren't even a village. I think we need to think about this carefully. This is war Naruto-san, Shibi said, and the blonde could agree. He sighed and rubbed the back of his head. No matter how strong he was, Naruto didn't have any war experience in the least. No one's saying that we should hand her over. That doesn't solve anything. In fact, she's more vulnerable that way, Sume said, and everyone turned to her. What do you mean? A civilian council member asked, and Sume elaborated. Maybe we all forgot, but there is a group of S-ranked criminals attacking the Bayou. Taki isn't capable of fighting S-ranked criminals, hell they couldn't even keep track of their Jinchuriki. I, for one, am not going to stand for this, Sume said as she knew of Fu's importance to Naruto. She was one of the blonde's mates just like her, and Sume knew the girl was strong. So what? Do we respond saying we'll go to war then? Think about the people, a civilian said, and Naruto did agree. He wouldn't rather put the village in danger, but no way in hell was he going to hand Fu over to anyone. Not on his life. Naruto-sama, it is your decision ultimately. You have the will of fire that burns for the village. What do you think we should do? Hiyashi asked, and Naruto rested his arm on the table. The blonde grumbled lightly before sighing. He stayed silent for a minute while he contemplated his thoughts. Kurenai and Shizune watched the blonde Hokage thing over everything, and soon Naruto opened his eyes. Tell them, Naruto said as he s his hand on the table while standing to his feet, surprising everyone in the room. That I'm going to protect Fu and everyone else. I'm the Rokudaime Hokage of Konoha, and I say just try and take her. Naruto yelled while everyone looked at him. They all suddenly felt the urge to smile while Shikaku rubbed the back of his head. Man, so bothersome. Well, now that that is settled, what else is there? Shikaku asked, and Naruto sat down. He turned to the civilians and smiled. Well, we're going to drop some courses of the academy, Naruto said, and the civilians gasped out at the blonde while Naruto snickered. The shinobi side wondered what he was thinking, and the blonde smiled. Kurenai-chan, nothing against them, but how did Shino, Sakura and Hinata fare in your test to become actual genin? Naruto asked, and soon all eyes were on Kurenai, who would simply tell her Hokage the truth. They succeeded, but they didn't know things that they really should have, and while I was impressed with their teamwork, I still think that the academy was too lenient, she responded, making the civilians irate. Alright then, tell me someone. What are all the courses to the academy? Naruto asked, and Shizune stepped up. There is shinobi tactics, history, taijutsu practice, flower arranging for the women, ninja tool tactics, and the study of the 3 basic ninjutsu henge, bunshin and kawarimi. Shizune spoke, and Naruto nodded. The blonde gave a heavy sigh and nodded. Alright, we're going to be changing some things, Naruto said, and Sakura's mother shot up. Everything is as it should be. There is no need for a change, Sakuno said, and Naruto turned to her with a tired eye. How much do you love your daughter? Naruto asked her, and Sakuno raised an eyebrow. What's that supposed to mean? She asked, and Naruto looked at the paper. Well, according to this, I can see why Sakura was the best in books, but why she sucks at basically everything else. You know, instead of training, I think your daughter might be trying in some stupid attempt to get Sasuke to notice her. Honestly, I was thinking about taking her out of the program completely, Naruto said, and Sakuno's temper flared. What? Why? Sakura's a great Kunoichi, Sakuno said, and Naruto turned around. Kurenai-chan? Naruto asked, and the Genjutsu mistress came up and turned before bowing to Sakuno. I mean no disrespect to you or your daughter, but Sakura's taijutsu is low. It's still academy style at best. Her use of ninja tools is moderate to say the least. Her chakra control is perfect, but that's only due to her low chakra reserves, which should be much bigger. I tried to teach her Genjutsu since it doesn't require a large amount of chakra, but she doesn't practice. She's basically a civilian with moderate training in the shinobi arts, Kurenai stated, and Sakuno shrunk under those words. She would have to talk with Sakura when this was over. Thank you, Kurenai-chan. Now then, don't you think that the academy deserves a change? Naruto asked, and everyone couldn't help but nod in agreement. Even the civilians had to agree based on that story while Naruto turned to them. Look, I know you hate me and I don't really care. You all have been the reason for every bad thing in my life, you to Sume-chan, but I'm not letting that sway my judgment. Tsunade Barkan left this place to me, and the daimyo of the Land of Fire trust me. I'm not failing either. This is my dream and I want this village to prosper just as much as you, Naruto said, and took out some paper. He started to write on it, and while people watched, The blonde handed the paper to Shizune and she looked it over. Naruto-kun, what is this? She asked and Naruto smiled. He passed a copy of the paper to everyone as they all examined it. New Academy teachings, shinobi tactics, history, taijutsu practice, chakra exercises, affinity testing and practice, ninja tool tactics, survival training, genjutsu arts, kenjutsu arts, ninjutsu arts, fuinjutsu arts and lastly the study of 6 jutsu which are henge, bunshin, kawarimi, gokaku technique, cage shuriken technique, and kuchiyos, summoning. The last one doesn't have to be an animal, but they must be able to summon something, Naruto said and everyone looked. It all sounded like real training back when they were kids. Sakuno stood up and held the paper. Nobody can do this. It would kill them. She hollered and Naruto sighed. The world isn't kind, lady. Every time you leave the village you are exposed to anything. Death can happen in an instant. This is necessary. You'll notice I took your flower arranging out of the course, Naruto said and everyone gasped. Why? Someone asked and Naruto smiled. There is no need for it in the shinobi world. You are more than welcome to make a club out of it, but as for it being a subject in school then I'll flat out decline databio, Naruto said to them and the clan heirs looked it over. Going by this I think we could see an increase in missions. I agree with Naruto-san's plan, Hiyashi said and Naruto smiled at him. He was happy that Hinata's father approved of it. He also hoped that she was doing good with the taijutsu lessons he taught her. Me too. This is quite logical and could be beneficial to us all, Shibi answered also. Everyone on the shinobi side agreed and plenty of people of the civilian council agreed also. Alright then. We'll start these up immediately. Dismissed, Naruto said and the entire council started to leave while Naruto got to his feet. Alright then, where is Mei-chan? Naruto asked and Kurenai raised an eyebrow. When did it become Mei-chan? She asked and Naruto blushed as he rubbed the back of his cheek. No reason. Just saying is all, the blonde said and he felt the stares of Kurenai and Shizune on him while he sweet dropped. Oh come on and see me some slack, Naruto told them and the two stopped staring while Naruto got to his feet. He quickly exited the room and sighed while he, Kurenai and Shizune kept on walking. Cryptanalysis department. Hey guys, don't you think we should call it quits here? Shiho asked and everyone placed their things down. Papers were scattered all over the room and so were some books. Kushina sheathed the 4 swords and nodded while Kyubi, Nanabi, and Nibi stretched. Yeah, we'll pick this up at another time. Great work, Kushina said and Shiho nodded. The 5 women left the room and packed it up for the last time. Kushina dispelled her clone and received all the information. Kyubi, what are we going to do? Nanabi asked silently and Kyubi sighed. I don't know, but for right now these swords are Naruto-kun's. We'll just see how he does and we'll help him where we can, Kyubi said and Nibi licked her lips. I'll help him alright. Help him right to the bed where I can. Nibi paused when she saw Kyubi and Nanabi glaring hard at her and chuckled as she rubbed the back of her head before staying silent. Shiho went back to her boss while Kyubi, Nanabi, Nibi and Kushina came out of the department. Ugh, I can't wait to get some sleep. It's nearly night time, she said with a groan and the 3 female Bayu could agree with her as they walked towards the house compound. It didn't take long, but they all made it and they saw the lights on and people conversing. It was like a regular festival up in the place. They all noticed the extra compound and sighed. Naruto-kun really went through with that idea, didn't he? Kyubi asked and Kushina simply nodded with a heavy sigh. She opened the door and looked to see Fu, Kiba, Haku, Yugito, Kasumi and Hana conversing with other people of the Inuzuka clan. Tayuya was simply outside training with somebody who challenged her while Kimimaro must have gone to bed already. Kanari-san, Nana-san. Come on. It's a party to celebrate our clans becoming one big one, Kasumi said as she jumped in the air. Kyubi and Nanabi chuckled to each other at Kasumi's light-hearted attitude. It really looked like people were having fun. Everyone soon turned and could see a light-skinned man with purplish, and a bit of white, hair going down his back. Kasumi smiled as she hugged him. Glad you could make it too, San. She said and Kuromaru gave a simple smile while he nuzzled his daughter Zen as a way of hello. Kyubi and Nanabi raised their eyebrows as they had only seen the guy in his dog form. Nibi seemed to back away since she had the natural cat hates dog thing. Yugito was really the same, but Kasumi was more of a person so she could deal with that. It's good to be here, Kasumi. Tell me, how have you been living with Naruto? Kuromaru asked and Kasumi smiled. It's always fun. You know he made me into a woman. She asked and Kuromaru glared before he gave a soft growl. Kasumi sweet dropped and sighed. She was only talking about being made into a half-human. What did her father think she meant? Muto-san, don't growl. Be happy. I love Naruto-sama, she said and Kuromaru simply decided to agree with her. Nibi turned her head and even saw Anko smiling as she drank some juice. Hey guys, how's it going? She asked them all and Kyubi raised an eyebrow at her. What are you doing here? Kyubi asked and Anko smiled as she wrapped her arm over the redhead's end. Simple, I'm gonna make a plea to Foxy-kun to join this place. You people know how to have fun, plus it seems like a good idea since I've got my curse mark off. It really is a good day, you know. She asked them and everyone just absently nodded. Here Kushina, kick your shoes off and drink with me, Anko said and Kushina shook her head and raised her hands defensively. Okay, look, I'm all for celebrating, but I'm tired and I'm going to bed, so I'm gonna need you all to quiet down, Kushina said as she walked up the stairs. She could tell that this place was going to get a lot more hectic with the Inuzuka around, but then again. Happiness loves company. Kushina closed the door to her room and laid down to go to sleep. She closed her eyes and sighed before she heard something break and growled. I said quiet, Dattebane. Kushina yelled in her bedroom, making everyone cower at her voice before they decided to calm down enough for her to go to sleep. Back with Naruto. On the table was the agreement for the treaty and Naruto smiled while Kurenai and Shizune looked at him incredulously. Naruto-kun, you are tough to negotiate with, Shizune said to him and the blonde smiled. Well, I'm not the Hokage for nothing, Shizune-chan. By the way, did you reply back to Taki? Naruto asked with his gaze getting cold. Shizune nodded and Kurenai sighed. Are you going to tell her? Kurenai asked and Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I will, as she'll need to know what's about to go down. I just hope that this doesn't bite us in the butt later, Naruto said to them as he got up from his desk and went home along with Shizune and Kurenai. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.